Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and joining me today is a fellow Rotarian, Dr. Sarah John. She is joining us to talk about an annual mission that she does every year to Chantal, Haiti. Thank you for being here, Dr. Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
So it was exactly 2 years ago that we sat here together and talked about the projects that you have put together with the collaboration and assistance of several Rotary clubs in District 7610. But for viewers who may not have seen our two previous shows, help us to understand how you got involved after the earthquake in 2010 and how you came to be a Rotarian.
I got lucky. I got very lucky. I became involved really by chance immediately after the 2010 earthquake with some folks who were going to Chantal, Haiti to provide medical and dental relief to the community following that disaster. Chantal is a very remote agricultural community. It's in the mountains, 250 kilometers southwest of Port-au-Prince. It's almost as remote as you can get in Haiti. And since that time, we've had over 16 successful medical and dental relief trips in Chantal and have helped the community to build infrastructure to help them have medical self-sufficiency or more medical self-sufficiency. In 2010, thanks to you, I became aware of Rotary and joined Rotary. And since that time, we've been very fortunate to have very vigorous support from Rotary clubs in Centerville and Chantilly, where we belong, as well as the other clubs in District 7610. There are 57 Rotary clubs just in our area. And we've banded together to be able to provide funding for multiple projects in the village. And they've gone from the very first grant, which supplied a dental chair, actually 2 dental chairs, and supplies to the local dispensary so people didn't need to lie on a board to have their teeth fixed, to now a major project that has bundled 15 Rotary clubs in the area to build a science classroom, the very first science laboratory and classroom with a computer classroom as well, computer labs, for one of the schools in Chantal. And it will be the first science classroom in the village, which is revolutionary, as you can imagine. We will now be able to teach STEM materials to these girls without it just being call and response from something written on the blackboard. I mean, imagine the first time a child looks in a microscope.
Oh, it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
And of course, their public schools actually are not free. They have to have uniforms and they have to have fees. So, part of bringing educational resources to the village of Chantal is working with We Care to Share and the nuns, who are actually sort of the infrastructure in that village all year round.
They run the dispensary. They're nurse midwives. They are 24/7 in the dispensary. And then they also run this school. There's a priest who runs another school. The nuns have over 1,000 students in the school, ranging from K to 12. And education is not, it's public, but it's not free because the students have to be able to pay for their uniforms and for their books. So an offshoot of We Care to Share, as Jesus, is providing sponsorships for over 600 students every year to pay their school fees. The school fees are about $150 per student per year. And so now there are over 600 kids in school who were not in school 5 years ago because their families couldn't afford those fees. So little by little, just like Topsy, we have grown to have just heartwarming influence in the village.
And you've, through Rotary too, in addition, because every year it's a medical and dental mission to provide care. But these projects through Rotary have also provided bathrooms to the school, a school kitchen, in addition to this classroom.
A pediatrics clinic, a medical waste incinerator, which
doesn't sound
very
sexy,
prosaic, but no, it was essential. It was
very essential,
especially in the days of cholera. Rotary Wash Rag, which is an organization of people interested in water and sanitation, provided 91 tub-sized water filters that went in 20 I guess 2011, in response to the cholera epidemic. They're still in use. I fill my water bottle from them very gratefully in the heat. So we've been able to make inroads and impacts in this one location, this one small village, that have revolutionized life in that village, which is the only way you ever get anything done. It's by working locally with local folks to meet their needs. And we're very, very excited this year about the science classroom. Bethel Church out in Warrenton, Virginia, where there's also a Rotary Club, has a group called Computers for Education. And they've provided us with computers that have hard drives loaded with all of the content of Wikipedia and educational software. The first and only scientific encyclopedia written in Creole. I mean, it's thousands of pages, has now been put on those hard drives, and we will have an intranet at this school.
Because they can't really connect to the internet.
There is no internet.
There is no internet.
There
But there
is
is,
no internet.
but the educational software loaded on the computers, particularly that which is in the language that they speak, invaluable.
It gives them the internet.
Yeah.
Chantal was devastated by Hurricane Matthew in 2016, as you know. I think that it was Halloween.
That's right. We talked about it. We were talking about it.
The village lost 90% of its housing. 90% of its housing. It looked like Puerto Rico. It looked like Katrina, or Louisiana after Katrina. And we have been able, through the good graces of Rotary clubs and Care to Share and other organizations, to help the village to rebuild over 3,000 homes. We restored the school, which just got wiped out.
Right.
Our brand new school kitchen got
Wiped out, yeah. I
wiped
know.
out 2 months later. It's been rebuilt as operational. We've really been graced by collaborations from other organizations. Community Coalition for Haiti, which is centered here in Northern Virginia, has a facility in Jacmel, and we partner closely with them as well. There are many groups in Northern Virginia that work in various places in Haiti, and we have sort of a loose coalition thanks to the folks at Bethel Computers for Education.
So you also have collaborations with other organizations like Brothers Brother and Blessings, too.
Brothers Brother Foundation, which has a hard goods warehouse right here on Prosperity Avenue and is always looking for volunteers to help them. They repurpose discarded medical equipment and provide it free of charge for missions all over the world. And we've been fortunate enough to obtain supplies from them, including another dental chair.
Fantastic.
And, equipment for an ultrasound that was supported by a Rotary Club grant a couple of years ago. Blessings International out of Oklahoma, MAP International out of, where are they? I want to say Pittsburgh, but I think that's the other Brothers
Right.
location. Partners in Health, which is a fabulous organization founded by Paul Farmer, Dr. Paul Farmer, is very generous in providing groups like ours with information about where they procure their supplies, who the vendors are, best practices for setting up a mission or relief work. And they're extremely generous with providing that. I mean, Paul Farmer, as far as I'm concerned, is a saint. They really put us in touch with those organizations. And we've had a very good collaboration, particularly with Brothers Brother Foundation.
So you've got a very large network that is national. The people who go on these missions with you come from all over the United States.
Over 12 United States, as well as Canada. We've had a gynecologist who came from Russia, believe it or not. She's now in Guatemala, where she's established her own clinic. Victoria, very, very astonishingly glamorous young woman, and England, and South Africa.
So in addition to doctors of all specialties, you look for nurses, you have pharmacists who come, and you have lay people who come.
Yes, and we need people for our January trip. We actually still have 5 openings, in particular for somebody to do work in the pharmacy. We need pharmacists badly, because if we see 2,000 patients, the pharmacists have to do all of that bundling and prescribing for those patients. So they have a tough job, and without them, we're
Right.
kind of handicapped. We also very badly need people to do women's health.
Right.
And of course, we can never have enough nurses,
Right.
lay people. And on this trip, something really exciting is that we're taking school teachers. They're coming from Ohio, actually. They were with us for a solar cooking workshop a few years ago. That was a Rotary project. And they are coming back to help launch the science classroom. And we're really very excited that they're returning. So we're also seeking teachers, particularly science teachers, to help the teachers in Chantal make the leap from call and response blackboard learning to experiential hands-on education, which is so important for inspiring children and helping them to really understand concepts. So we're also looking for school teachers for this coming trip.
So you have anybody, any number of people can come with you because people pay their own expenses
Yes.
to get there.
And that's important. We are revenue neutral, and that's really important. We do not want to be a burden on the community. We don't want to use donated grant funds to support us. That would be just immoral. And so our volunteers pay their own airfare. The trip fee is $650, which includes everything except after-hours beverages and souvenirs.
You're right.
And
But your housing and your meals are included
housing,
in that.
meals, in-country transportation, a lovely day at the beach. Haiti is the jewel of the Caribbean. And a lovely night in a modern hotel on the way back to the airport. But we have a lot of fun. It's very safe. We are a collegial group and pretty cohesive. We have about a 60% return rate. And the folks that don't return, one year may return the following
Another year. And that's the great thing about having annual missions is that you know that every year you're going to have openings for people
Yes.
to come. And people in our club have come. Members of our organization have come, and the son of one of our members, Stacy, did an Eagle Scout project with his friend, and so the 2 boys went to help assemble solar cookers.
My twin brother Jacob has an autism spectrum disorder. I remember one moment after being at school all day. I remember him getting into the car just bawling and saying, "Mom, I have no friends. Why don't I have any friends?" It broke my heart. That was the moment when I realized that I needed to do something about this. I needed to make a difference in his life. And I knew that if I could help him find a friend, I could help teach other people that including people with differences is the right thing to do. That was the inspiration behind my nonprofit, Score a Friend. Educating people to include people with differences is so important because when Jacob's included, he feels like he can succeed in life and he feels like he actually has a purpose.
So how was work?
It was 1,300 hours. My math class from 302 was in the trenches. Davy Roth had it the worst. Fractions were coming at him left and right. He just didn't get the damn things. 2 days ago, I tried to teach him what 1/4 of 1/2 was using different sizes of blocks. Yesterday, I tried again by dividing up pizza. Both missions failed.
Oh no.
But today, I was ready. I created a combat math game where the only way to beat the enemy is to out-fraction them. Davy conquered every last denominator. My game was so successful, the principal is deploying it to math squadrons all over the school. Anywho, how was your day?
Oh, today my boss treated the office to salad wraps.
Salad wraps.
I know.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. Joining me in this segment is Dr. Jerry Foltz, who is another fellow Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Centerville Chantilly. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you're not a medical doctor, you're a doctor of ministry.
Yes.
So your trip with Dr. Sarah John to Haiti has had kind of a different bent to it. You didn't go there as a medical professional, but you did in fact, in years prior to actually going on the trip to Haiti, you've been very instrumental in helping her to get some of these goods to their destination in Haiti. So give us a little bit of background about some of the first things you did to try to help out with the medical mission to Haiti.
Well, 2 different years in the fall, I took a carload of materials, actually, and then a second time I rented a truck to take materials from Virginia to Brooklyn, actually, so they could be shipped ahead of time by ship to Haiti. And one of them had a 300-pound fully assembled dental chair. It took a lot of struggle to get it on the truck and off, and then other parts were disassembled, and then a pallet full of supplies too.
Right, and so she does manage to gather, and we've talked about some of the partners that we've had with Blessings and Brothers Brother, and there's a network of organizations around the United States that help to gather the sorts of things that she is trying to get to the village of Chantal, which is very remote and in western Haiti.
Well, it's 150 miles south of Port-au-Prince.
Right.
A different subculture.
Very different. I think when people think of Haiti, it's not necessarily a monolithic culture at all.
No.
Just like the United States is not monolithic. Not even Virginia is monolithic.
Exactly.
You go in different places and the culture is very different. Yeah. But so tell us a little bit about why you decided to go after 2 years of helping get the goods via Brooklyn down to Haiti. What motivated you to go on the mission with Sarah?
Well, she kept asking me to, so I finally did. I had gone 7 times on trips to Honduras to help build houses after Hurricane Mitch. So that ended, and so this seemed like a thing that was the right timing for me, and I thought that would add to my adventurous experiences. And I'm not a doctor, a medical doctor, or a nurse, or a dental hygienist. So I wasn't really sure what I would be doing. He said, "Oh, come on, you will be really helpful." So, okay. And so it's only 4 days of seeing clients, actually, and we saw 1,000 in 4 days.
That's a lot.
And the first day, I was sort of a runner. I was sort of helping people come from the church where they were waiting over to the clinic, back and forth, and trying to keep order a little bit. And then the next 3 days, I was doing data entry for 500 people, putting in their names, trying to read people's writing. Sometimes the electricity wasn't very good because it was on generator, and sometimes it got dark and I couldn't finish. So did 500 data entry on what medication they were given, their name, what kind of water they drink. Most of it wasn't very good, and so on. So we try to keep some records, and so then 4 days we saw 1,000 people, and to me that was very exciting. Either they were having their teeth pulled, a tooth pulled or more, or a doctor was seeing a child or an adult.
Well, so there's a lot of medical need, obviously. Dental needs, even in this country, are very difficult for people to get access to.
Right.
And it causes a lot of pain, and a lot of overall health problems are created by dental problems. And so having those 2 dental chairs, and that really was, I think, the first thing our club did in the very first proposal that Sarah put together as a brand new Rotarian in our club, and that's now like 8 years ago, was trying to get some basic medical implements down there. But now that the nuns are providing interim care, one of the projects that we did was the infirmary, and we had beds put in for children who have to stay overnight. I mean, our club has really done a lot. We got a sonogram machine down there that I think may have been damaged in Hurricane Matthew, if I recall. But just getting some basic equipment so that even between medical missions, the nuns have something to work with.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about the people and how your interactions with the folks there in Chantal.
Well, my French is non-existent, and so is my Creole. So I was relying on people's English and hand signals and things. But I discovered at night, of course, we're not working anymore, and there's no lights in town because there's no electricity. So you're wandering around among the shadows, and people come up to you, and you're wondering what's going to happen. and I find out that they're really very friendly. They really, really, really are. It took me a couple of days to get really into the trust level. They wanted to help me go where I want to go. If I want to go to the local bar or something, you know, or back to where I was housed, they would help me. And I realized during the day, people that have that cook some chicken and beans and rice on the church yard, maybe sell some crafts. At night, they just fold everything up with a tarp and leave it there, and it's there all night. And the next day, they open it up and go on.
Right.
And that's to me a real symbol of trust. And you know, they respect each other's stake. And you go through the street, and people have things on their front porch that they sell during the day, but there they are at night. And it's an amazing level of trust there. It's just exciting to recall that and to experience it and to talk about it.
So how was the food? Because I know the $650 that people are asked to pay is the trip fee. And of course, that's in addition to the round trip airfare, which people who volunteer to go on the mission are up for the $650 fee and the airfare. But tell us a little bit about the food.
Well, food was fine. Some of it was Haitian style, but chicken and rice and beans, and some of it was a little spicy, so I took it easy on that. And you had plenty of filtered water to drink and coffee in the morning. I never went hungry, that's for sure, and I felt satisfied, never got sick. They were killing the chicken in the morning that she ate later on in the day, and I could see.
Talk about fresh and organic.
Yes, exactly, exactly. You knew where your food was coming from.
So one of the things that we had talked about with Sarah is the fact that once Sarah came to our club, she really took this project, which is it's a different project every year, and has collaborated in a way in our district that really hadn't been done up to this point.
Right.
You know, so a lot of us in the club have gone out to speak to other Rotary clubs. We've emailed, we've made phone calls. Right, I know you're going right, because you have to remind clubs, and even the clubs who are like, yes, we're in. That in-kind drive and trying to get all of the things delivered on time so that they don't have to be driven to Brooklyn, they can be shipped to Florida. You know, we have had some wonderful partners, anywhere from a dozen to 15 different clubs in our district, and that kind of collaboration I think is unique.
And really the matching is really great. The individual clubs give a little bit of money, a few $100s or $100 maybe, and then it gets matched by the district, and then it gets matched again by International Rotary, which ends up being $20,000 to $30,000 in cash that we can go, and goes a long way in Haiti.
It absolutely does. And I think a lot of people who are not familiar with Rotary don't understand the impact that Rotary clubs have both locally, and we do a lot with schools. We have scholarship programs for Chantilly and Westfield, and we also support Mountain View, which is the alternative high school. We do things locally, but then this international project is something that has a tremendous impact, and we're kind of the coordinating club for a lot of other clubs like Fairfax. I know Fairfax City Club has been a longtime partner with us. Blue Ridge, I think, is the one farthest away down near Charlottesville, the Blue Ridge Club. But there have been a number of clubs who every year kind of help do this. And this past Tuesday, last Tuesday, Manassas brought school supplies and mosquito nets, and Sterling showed up with toothbrushes and toothpaste. What are some of the other things that you remember that we have actually collected and taken to Haiti?
Toothpaste and toothbrushes a lot. Everybody gets some. I'm trying to think of what else. Well, microscopes this year we want to outfit the science lab.
Yes, that's a big one.
And these are talking about new microscopes somewhat. With the French directions how to use them.
Yes, that's one of the things that, you know, Sarah and I were talking about, the fact that this laptop project that was also an organization here in the United States, these refurbed laptops are loaded with science software in French or in Creole. I think some of the texts they have are actually in Creole too. So, you know, it's an amazing coordination of effort. But Rotary, I think, has an infrastructure, an international infrastructure that makes these things possible. I know that you have been a Rotarian, and you were a Rotarian in other clubs before you came to our club. And don't you agree that, you know, most Rotary clubs have their own culture?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, very distinct.
Yeah, and different projects.
Yes.
So when people come to our club, and I do think we are the cool kids of Rotary, I think, you know, that we have that label. No club is like our club. But when you go to different clubs, and there's 30 in Northern Virginia, you can expect to have a different experience, somewhat.
Yeah, that's for sure. I remember when I went to Honduras, there was a dairy farm out in the country that had a well that was installed by a Rotary Club in Ohio. I looked it up, it doesn't exist anymore, but the well is still working well.
That is amazing.
Yeah, right. Out in rural Honduras, there was this well from
there. That's amazing. We'll have to ask Tori if he knows anything about that Rotary Club, since his mom was.
I have a picture of it, yes.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting to track that down.
I should say, though, that the Haiti trip is, the people that go are mostly not Rotarians. They're from different parts of the country. We had some students from Canada a couple years ago, who just graduated from high school. So the word gets out in terms of global missions. You can go on medicalmissions.org and look at the country you want to go to and what time of year you want to go to. Go to Haiti, and then you look at all the dates. And Care to Share Chantel is on there for this coming year.
That is a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up, is that you don't have to be a Rotarian. And even though certainly Sarah is looking for a pharmacist, and she's looking for nurses, and she's looking for doctors and dentists, she needs lay people just like you to do the things like keeping everything organized and doing data entry, and those are the kinds of things that lay people can expect to do. So the best way, and we'll just do this for the sake of our viewers, the best way to fill out an application is just to email Sarah.
Exactly.
Yeah, email Sarah, and I think we have her email address on the screen so that people can say they're interested in going, and it is going to be in January, the last week in January. And I know she asks members of our club all the time when we're going to go, and every time I say, I'm going to go one of these days. Just, it's during legislative session this year before crossover. So any parting thoughts that you have for people who are interested in going?
Well, one surprise was it wasn't very hot there. It didn't get above 80, I think, during the day. And at night, I was actually chilly, sleeping on the floor in my light covers and on the mattress. There were five of us in one room. And you know who snored and who didn't, or who slept well and didn't care whether anybody snored. And I never used my mosquito netting. I had it to rig up, but I never saw a mosquito, so I got by without it.
I think that is Haiti in January is probably the best time to go.
Exactly.
And this is something that we do every January. And so thank you so much, Jerry, for coming and sharing your experience with the audience.
Thanks for inviting me, yes.
And this is something that you need to consider. Dr. Sarah John is looking for people to accompany her in January of 2019. You don't have to be a Rotarian, don't have to be a medical professional, just somebody who's interested in helping out in this lovely, wonderful village of Chantal. And I hope you'll consider either coming to our Rotary Club and hearing more about it. We meet on Tuesdays. And if not, please consider going to Haiti. And this is what you need to know.